Hey guys, with the new update coming out, one of the big things that is added is new Gear Dungeon 1 and 2 stages. Instead of it going up to 10, it goes up to 13. And these things are hard. So hard even, that the Gear Dungeon 2, which is the one I will be showing you in this video, I am currently the only person on global servers able to beat it. Now I do have to give a big shout out to the Foreigner community. 5 people total, by the way, have beaten it over there, and they helped me out a little bit with this one, so I gotta give a huge shout out. But this stage is very difficult, and that's mostly because of this and a couple other additions. So not only is there everything that the previous stages of Gear Dungeon 2 have, now whenever an ally dies or retreats, there will be a pool put on the ground that does insane amount of damage. Then not only that, the enemies that come out, if they die on any tile that is not affected, it will become affected. So if you kill anything and they're on, your unit there, right here, you could use a Kagiri to one-shot the wave, but it doesn't matter because that tile is now useless and Kagiri dies. That's what happens as well. And then the final big change is the clones that come out that are very annoying to deal with. Now when they explode, if you ignore them, they make every tile in their explosion range, which is huge by the way. It makes it unable to have anything placed on them. So you have to kill everything on the map. You have to make sure that you don't pull or sell or have anyone die. You cannot have any of that happen. You have to go through the entire stage with buffed up enemies and do all of that. It is insane. So I'm going to show you guys the timing, the gear, talk about some awakenings and substitutions, but I'm going to be fully transparent. You cannot change this team up very much. All right. Maybe when new heroes come out, this will become easier and easier. And absolutely for 11 and 12, you do not need as high gear or awakening or hero requirements. There are people who are doing it with other teams. But when it comes to 13, which I'm going to show you, which also works for 12 and 11, there's not a lot of flexibility. That's just how it is. So let's go into it. So this is the team I will be using. The only awakenings you really need is A1 Diao-chan is a requirement. It is not a suggestion, it is a requirement. If you are attempting this stage and you do not already have A1 Diao-chan, you need to soulstone her. It's just one of the most important awakenings in the game. Not only that, you also need to have ideally an A3 Nyx. Now, if you have an A5, you're going to have a much easier time, but I don't have an A5, right? This is my personal account, and despite my awakenings being generally high, I don't have this. A3 Nyx makes it a lot more flexible on you. Theoretically, an A1 Nyx is all you need. Theoretically, an A0 Nyx, but I'm going to recommend you guys an A3. Beyond that point, any awakenings you have are good. I would say Ymrit's pretty important too, but also people on Forerunner are doing it with A0, and Silas awakenings are great. If you have Lord Phineas awakenings, this is going to be so easy for you. It is insane. If you do not have his awakenings, it becomes very difficult, okay? Now, with that out of the way, I'll go over the gear in a bit. Just a quick reminder, if you do want to support the channel, the best way to do it is to like the video and subscribe. It really helps me make more videos like this and, try to help you guys out a little bit, even if these stages are a bit overtuned. Anyways, thank you guys. Back to the video. We're gonna go in. Also, Iovar can be swapped with Raka. He literally does not matter. Twin Fiend can be swapped with Sulkadins. It does not matter. And then Lady Alexandra can replace Silas. Those are the only substitutions, in my opinion, unless you completely change up the strategy. Now, speaking of the strategy, I'm gonna try to go one by one, as slow as I can. First of all, we need to put Lord Phineas up here, close to the portal, facing left. If you don't know, Lord Phineas's ult makes his range 3 tiles instead of 1. This is very important because not only does he not heal any physical units that come by, which get healed, by any magic damage, he also can kill any magic units that come through, which is huge, okay? Now, not only that, we're going to put Lily up and to the left. We're going to wait a tiny bit, and then we're going to place it down. This is just a time out her ultimate with the Rage Regen I have. If your Rage Regen's a bit different, it may swap it up a little bit. Then we're gonna put Nyx on the bottom, facing right here exactly. And then we're gonna put our Diao-Chen up here. Now the entire idea about this is you don't need tanks, you don't need ground units. You don't need to pull anyone or move anyone or have anyone die if you just kill everything instantly. That's the entire idea here. That's why Diao-Chen is so necessary. And that's why everything needs to be placed exactly and timings need to be perfect. So Phineas is actually going to shred through everything. Phineas is the most important unit in this entire team, apart from Diao-Chen. It's not close. Lord Phineas is now one of my favorite characters because of the stage, because of how much he shreds. Here, as soon as that AoE comes out, you're going to be able to place Silas facing right. Okay? And now when this when this magic Volca clone comes in, as soon as it gets to you, I would say like wait for Phineas to do one hit, and then you can click his ultimate. His ultimate is now going to shred through that clone, and as long as he's built with enough HP, builds at the end, you're going to be just fine. Now, if we go in to the bottom right, you're going to see that the timers are almost done. If you have an A1 Nyx, you're going to want to just click her ultimate around when the timer is almost up. You can wait a bit longer, you can do it a bit earlier, it doesn't matter. Just try to leave some flexibility so you actually remember. I kept forgetting to click the ult. Then we're going to do Airless right here facing up. Eloin does work, but we're going to have a unit right here and Airless reaches it, Eloin does not. So I prefer Airless if you do have her. If you don't, you could use Eloin and use some Wood Elves to keep that unit alive, but it's just going to be a little bit difficult for you. Now, Nyx is going to shred right there, and we're going to be able to put down our next unit, which is going to be Talon, right here. Now, after this, we're actually going to put down Yimi. Now, Yimi does have a couple replacements. Ymir can be replaced by Valara, can be replaced by Numera, can be replaced by Helga, as long as they do decent magic damage. But the reason why Ymir is the best, and potentially required for stage 13, obviously lower stages you have more flexibility. The reason why Ymir is so good is he does physical and magic, and you need physical and magic damage, so he just gives you the best of both worlds, very flexible. Now, what you're going to see around when this Volca clone reaches the end of Silas's range right here, you're going to want to click his ult. This is to get him ready for the next clone, which is about to come out. We want Silas getting to his ults as fast as possible, so we're going to want to ult with him a little bit early. Alright, now when you get 20 costs, you're going to place down your Ymir, and around when you place down your Ymir, you're going to use your Talon ult right here on the left. And we're just going to leave this here. Now we can wait a little bit. So let's just 2x here. All we got to do now is we have to keep an eye out on Silas ult, and we need to keep an eye out on Nyx. So as soon as the timers on these guys in the bottom right start to tick down a little bit, we're going to click our Nyx ult again. She needs to be an ult before these guys get to her range. That is the only stipulation. Now we can take a look at Silas. So we're going to get these magic Volca clones next, which obviously Silas can't hit, but Silas will get so much rage if you're using Airless that we're actually going to ult with him here. And this is going to free up a little bit of strain, because if these guys in the top right stay alive completely, it's going to cause some issues on our guys on the left. And we don't want that. Because remember what I said earlier, if these guys come into any tile that is uncorrupted, it corrupts the tile. And if a unit is on there, that unit is dead and you can no longer replace them. You can't sell them, obviously, because it just corrupts the tile. So we want to try to clear these guys as much as possible, so we have more leniency with this magic clone that's coming from the top right, because it's going to be very, very tight. All right. Now Silas is going to kill all of those. And now we have to talk about the magic. So the magic clones always come out together on these new stages, and we need to be very particular. So what I like to do is around when this Volca clone gets to about 80% of the ult left, I like to click Ymir ult right here. Now we need to wait a little bit longer on Lord Phineas. All right, we need to try to make him be able to kill both of these. Ymir cannot handle this on his own on the left, especially with Talon constantly healing. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for about 50%, 45% on this timer, and we're gonna click Lord Phineas to help out a little bit. Now this one's gonna be a little less specific than the next one, but you are going to have to be very, very careful with things. Now what we're gonna look at is this health bar right here. Around when it gets to a very low point, about 10% left, we know that when the Talon animation is finished, we're actually going to have the clone be dead. So at around this point, you can click Talon ult when you think that the thing will actually die. And this just allows you to have a bit more security with the units behind. Because remember what I said earlier, if any enemy comes in a tile that is not affected, it will affect that tile, effectively making that tile useless and killing anything on it. And we don't want Talon to die because she's very important. So what this means is she will stun because she stuns after triggering her ultimate, and she's going to knock back any enemies behind. So if you don't do enough Silas damage, you're still going to have that security. And then after that clone is dead, Phineas should deal with this red clone right here. Now, if your Silas is built with enough Rage Regen, or just, you have enough Rage Regen from your Pantheon as an example, you're going to be able to click Silas ult again, okay? So as soon as Silas comes back, we're going to click his ult. The idea here is when the physical clone comes, he will have his next ult. Now, it's very, very annoying. But the thing is, if you leave this and you don't click his ultimate, an archer's going to come through here, it's going to shoot him, it's going to cause Lily to shield him no matter how much HP he has. And what this is going to do is it's going to make Phineas die. And if Phineas dies, you lose instantly. If anyone dies, you lose instantly. So we have to click our Silas ult there. If you're struggling to get that ult back in time, build in with a little bit of Rage Regen. Alright, I don't have that much Rage Regen on mine. Anyways, we're hoping that he will deal with this archer right here, which he should. And then we're going to look at the bottom right once again, where Nyx should be fine. And you can see that Phineas is actually surviving. Remember, we put Lily down a little bit later. That's just so that her ult keeps everyone alive during that stress period right there. That's the entire reason why we place Lily down at the time that we do. Now Nyx is going to deal with the bottom right. Silas is going to deal with some of these guys and hopefully get back some of his ult by attacking, of course. And we should be fine to kill the next guy when it comes. If you don't, then you lose. That's basically the whole thing. Now what we're going to have is also Talon coming back very soon. And we're going to be able to deal with everyone at the top here. Silas, make sure to click his ult as soon as you can. And we're going to click Talon ult around the same time as well, as soon as she gets up. Make sure you do not Yimmer ult during these physical stress periods, because obviously he'll heal the thing, right? Silas is going to hopefully deal with this right here, which mine will. If you need a bit more rage, keep in mind mine has like no rage on it. So just build a little bit of rage and you'll get back in time. But yeah, now most of the stressful parts are over. There's still a little bit of stress, but not that much, okay? We're done most of the parts. Now we just need to deal with 2 magic enemies. That is it. Make sure you do not sell anyone at this point, because if you sell anyone, it makes the AoE stronger and it makes it easier to die. All right? Here, what we're going to do is we're going to click Silas ult. This is so that we can do a little bit of damage to these guys that are going to be splitting right there. This is where it gets a little stressful. Here, I forgot to Nyx. Make sure you Nyx at when the bottom right guys are ready. We're just trying to damage those guys a little bit at the top. And now, because there's only one magic guy spawning here and basically nothing else, we're going to click our Phineas ult as soon as we can for the initial hit, which is strong, to deal damage to this magic so we can kill this magic guy as fast as possible and deal with all the minions. Now, there's not really going to be that many more minions, so we don't really have to worry about these guys living completely, but we do want to do our best. So as soon as they get into Yimmy ult, we're going to click our Yimmer it. Then we are going to click our Phineas as soon as the magic guy gets into his range. So it's a little bit hard to see here, but essentially when this magic guy comes to about even with Lily here, you're going to be able to click Phineas ult, and the initial hit is going to hit the magic guy. Now here we got an unlucky freeze, so it may mess us up a little bit, but we can do that right there and hopefully kill pretty soon. right there. We're going to get the lucky knockback. We're going to get some good damage. It's going to get knocked back. If you're struggling a little bit, just modify your Phineas timing a tiny bit. I kind of messed it up there. And as long as this guy dies, which he didn't there, you'll be okay. So now that he didn't die, I'm going to come back to a successful run. I'll be right back. Here I am back to where that magic clone is coming in that we need to kill. I do have Power of Dominance on because I did auto up to this point because I don't want to have to suffer through the stage again. Basically, we're going to Yimmy ult when it gets close, and then as soon as it gets to about Phineas range, here they're going to get knocked back slightly. We're going to be able to click Phineas ult, and as long as you get this initial hit on the clone, you're going to kill it, Power of Dominance or not. Now, with that out of the way, Lord Phineas will actually clear this, and because we have no more clones coming, this group is not going to be hard to kill. Now, if you do happen to get a Silas ult at this point, just ult with him, get the help you need to finish out the stage, and as long as your Phineas deals with this clone fast enough, you'll be a-okay. Make sure you Nyx ult at the end, though, because that can screw you up. So with that out of the way, basically Talon, don't Yimmy, and you win. That's how you beat it. Very, very difficult, not easy, not low requirements. The gear is good, obviously. This is a very hard stage, okay? This is an argument for the hardest stage of the game. I would argue this is harder than 324. I think 324 has more hero and awakening requirements, but this definitely doesn't have a lot of leniency and is much harder timing-wise, in my opinion. Now, let's go over the gear really quickly. It's not low requirements. So Talon, you actually want to build with more DPS. I built it with a little bit of HP. So here we have that piece. With this piece, I had no Malware calls on these. Obviously, you can build her to deal more damage. It does make it harder to kill the magic enemies. So if you want to make Talon even weaker, you can do that too. I have her exclusive. You could do Reaper's Emblem. You could do Icarus Chalice. It doesn't really matter. Just remember that the survivability for Talon is not really that important. What's important is you knock back the enemies so they don't get into her tile and die there. Okay, that's very important. Now we get to Silas. Silas you want to build in Infernal Roar. I had some HP. You don't actually need HP with the way that I showed you, but I was struggling with having him live. So just try to build him with as much damage as you can. Some HP maybe if you need, and I used his exclusive. Nyx, you want to do Infernal Roar. You want to build her very well with as much damage as you possibly can, and her exclusive is her best. If you have her A5, this is substantially easier. Now, if we go over to Phineas, I would honestly argue you should put your best gear on, either him or Ymrit, I think. Mine had his second best. So here it's very important that you have at least 55,000 HP. My Phineas was getting very low during that fight. If you have lower, he probably will die. So just try to build him somewhat tanky, and then build him with whatever pieces you have that's the best. And I think his exclusive is the best. I'm not really sure. Ymrit is in Soulbound. He's in my best Soulbound. You don't need your pieces to be this good. I was just so sick of this stage that I just slapped my best gear on him. And then now we get to the healers. Lily, you want to have your best healer gear. So you want a ton of attack speed. Put in attack speed main. Then you want to have some healing effect and attack as much as you can muster. HP is also pretty nice as well. I use Elysian for some extra healing. Then we go over to Airless. Airless is also going to be built in Invig. I would say just attack speed, and the rest is kind of irrelevant. You don't really need to build Airless super well. The Outshen you want to build with as much attack as you can. Now keep in mind, this gear is good, but for lower stages you don't need as good gear. Or Awakenings, okay? Twin Fiend or Sulkadins works. Literally auto-equip them, they don't get placed. Iovar, auto-equip him, doesn't get placed. You could use a Raka. Does not matter. And that's the gear. Those are the artifacts. That is the stage. As you can see, only 4 people have beaten 12, let alone 13. This stage is hell, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but that is how you beat it. If you have the things for it, that's how you can do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. And Destined, signing out.